Alright, we are not getting a common test of patch 1.16, so we're just getting the American Yohs tanks with a micropatch tomorrow, and that's it. There's no testing to see if the armor is broken and we need a nerf, so just shove it down our throats, but yeah, fuck it, we'll do it live. That has got to be the quickest introduction of a tech tree in World of Tanks history. There's no testing of it. I mean, before, we actually got to test like broken lines, such as the EBRs, right? But guess we'll do it live, I guess. So there goes my plans of actually testing the armor models on the common test, as well as seeing the hidden vehicles for the common test. So my plans are shot. But for this video, we'll try to take note and make some critiques or commentaries about the stats from this video right here, since I don't get to play with the common test. But also I want to go over the research of the new tech trees or tech lines for the American Yohs tanks, so at each different tiers, as well as seeing if the stats are holding up, mostly. But this is based off of a video, not actual stats, so take it with a grain of salt. But before we get started, these 3 premium tanks will be added to the tech tree for gold. So the Skoda T27, the 50 TP prototype, and the IS-2M will be available for gold in the tech tree. So neat, I guess. But let's take a look at the Yohs tanks. So I'll put it on 1.2x speed because there's a lot of stuff to go through.
The release of a new line always sparks interest, and players are most interested in lines with new mechanics. The Yohs tanks are a perfect example of that. You should be able to recognize classic features of US tank building in them. Every project, though, attempted to bring fresh design solutions, like a narrow turret, a peculiar gun mantlet, or suspension with an extra track. And even though no metal prototypes of these vehicles were ever built, there were enough drafts and blueprints to create a new American heavy line in the game possessing these unique mechanics.
Having no metal prototype has never stopped Wargaming from adding fantasy vehicles to a World of Tanks. Just saying.
The line begins at Tier 6 with the Pawlack tank.
Alright, let me take a look at the stats, but this is the cousin of the M6, so you can split off from the T1 Heavy, but 90mm gun, takes a while to reload, accuracy sucks, DPM is alright for a Tier 6, but does have decent armor for a Tier 6, even though, it's okay. I mean, most of the pin is about 150, so if you get hit in the flat areas, you get pinned. But horsepower per ton ratio is actually high for a heavy tank, 45 km/h top speed, also pretty good. Traverse like that of a medium heavy tank, so this could be played like a medium tank. Camo sucks, view range, Tier 6. Yeah, it could be better, but this could be played as a medium tank from initial stats, but don't know about terrain resistance or shell velocity, so
it's the only newcomer without a reserve track, but you can hardly call it a typical heavy. The Pawlack is sturdier than the M6 and faster than the Sherman. The only drawback is its gun. Its DPM is not great, its accuracy mediocre, its depression angle only
5 degrees of gun depression. That suck. And yeah, obviously DPM suck, but maybe the turret armor will be good. Maybe.
Degrees, and its single shot damage is standard for a 90mm gun. But this tank is a decent close range fighter.
Alright, hold up. Alright, cupola weak spot, but then again it's rounded. Frontal mantlet is about 165. That's not bad for a Tier 6. Think about it this way. The Oni has ridiculous armor for a Tier 6, even though it's not being played, but that has 150 at the front, and the sloping has 150 at the front. So back then, people would shoot gold shell into this thing, and you know, It's only 150. That has 165 rounded, or effectively 165. So armor-wise for a tier 6, not bad. All right, lower plate small, upper plate 135 to 160, not bad. 1600 DPM is not bad when you think about it.
Its armor can forgive certain mistakes in a positional firefight. In combination with good mobility, it even allows you to engage in a flank offensive.
Yeah, horsepower per turn ratio is high for a quote-unquote heavy tank, so it's more like a medium tank. It's faster than a Sherman. What? Top speed also pretty good for a heavy tank, so man, this Panther tank or VK3002 is being chased down or something.
In this regard, the Pawlack tank is more successful than other same-tier vehicles. At Tier 7, there is the M2Y, the first vehicle of this line
Alright, M2Y, comparable to a T29. Gun penetration, like the same as a T29, but alpha is a lot worse. So 320 compared to 240. Reload time is a little bit faster than the T29, but accuracy is about the same. Aim time, about the same-ish. 10 degrees of gun depression, DPM sucks. Health, the same as a T29. Hull armor is likely better than a T29. T29 is a 120 or so, slow backwards at about 170mm effective. Turret front, however, is not as strong because of the cupola, the large-ass cupola. 14 horsepower per ton ratio, not bad. 40 kilometers per hour top speed, slightly slower traverse, and view range got 10 more meters. Okay-ish. I mean, it's the same as a T29, but this cupola is a big weak spot. So,
possessing a reserve track. In other respects, this tank is similar to its predecessor. A cross between a heavy and a medium vehicle with good mobility and excellent armor.
Cupola is a large-ass target, 120mm effective. So, obviously, there are weak spots on the T29, but the cupola is very small and very hard to hit. So, that's why this vehicle is so good. I mean, it's only 100? I thought it was 120, but effectively, it's about 170 at the front plate. So, small cupola, insanely thick turret front. So, I mean, then again, 220 is the same as 280 when it's at tier 7, right? I don't know, you face off against like tier 9s though. But I love my T29, obviously. Good crew as well. But lower plate, yeah, 145. It's okay for a lower plate when you think about it. You do have the machine gun boob weak spot. So back with the weak spots when Wargaming already took out weak spots. So let's see if the weak spots are still there. Well, 75. Well, yeah. Yeah, weak spot, machine gun boob, weak spot. Yep, still there, but upper plate, 170-ish millimeters effective. 122. Yeah, like I said, 122. It's not 100. 100 for the middle part. It's for this part. Alright, so it's that cupola. That's a big weak spot. Turn down point.
The only weak spot of the M2Y in a positional fight may be the commander's cupola. The gun's accuracy and DPM don't show any incredible numbers.
Nah.
But the penetration is quite good.
202 is the same as a 198. It's not quite good. It's okay. It's decent, but not. I mean, if you want good, you want 220mm plus for a tier 7. But obviously, you're not getting that.
Even against tier 8 vehicles. What's more, all Yohs tanks starting at tier 7 have excellent elevation and depression angles. This is one of the key characteristics that shapes the gameplay of the entire line.
It shapes the American other heavy tank line. What the hell?
The M3Y settled down at...
Alright, tier 8. Comparable to the T32. Has more pen, but still garbage alpha. 10 degrees of gun depression. DPM, not bad. Not bad at all for tier 8. That's actually pretty high. That's about the same as a T32. Give me a slight second. Yep, it's like a T32. Stock wise, stock DPM. It's better than the stock DPM. Holy shit. Ooh. Hit points. Yeah, not bad too. A little bit more than the T32. 145. Well, I have the field modifications on, so a little bit more health, but yeah, plus 50 more health. Alright, never mind. Health is slightly below average for heavy, but hull armor, ooh, that's thick boy. Turret armor, thick boy. 15 horsepower per ton ratio, 40 kilometers per hour top speed. It's actually supposed to be faster than a T-32. T-32 has only 13.7 horsepower per ton ratio and only 35 kilometers per hour top speed. But this thing is a DPM machine, even without the penetration. So each shell hits hard for a 105mm, but let's continue to take a look. But camo sucks, view range, 10 less meters than the T-32.
Tier 8. It made a leap in firepower arranged for by his predecessors. Its hull and turret armor thickness reach impressive.
Alright, cupola is only 150, but that's a small cupola. Turret front doesn't have to say anything about it, it's pretty thick. So don't shoot a turret front. Upper plate, very good for a tier 8. That's like tier 10's level of upper plate armor. So pretty good. But lower plate, kind of a big. So let's talk about this cupola. But it's about the same as a T-32's cupola. However, T-32's cupola is 150 or so. It's 152. But it's slowed backwards at about 222 millimeters effective. So it is a small cupola. It's also rounded and sloped and thick. So the only way of penetrating this is directly hitting square on the middle part of the cupola, or you hit the crevice of the turret. So I don't know how accurate it is for this cupola, but it might be like a T-32's cupola, and this might be the actual sweet spot of the tech tree. So we'll take a look.
Values, and the size of the commander's cupola has been noticeably reduced. At the same time, the mobility of the tank stays true to the brand of the Yohs branch.
Yeah,
and
fast.
is complemented by the new mechanic. The tank has one more peculiar feature: 2 top guns to choose from, adding to the diversity of gameplay.
Alright.
If you prefer to keep your distance and support your allies, consider the 90mm gun with high DPM. It resembles a classic medium tank gun.
So this gun plays like a Carnarvon Action X. Fast reload, large DPM. Accuracy could be better, but hey, it's not that bad. Alpha obviously not as strong as a 105, but like a Carnarvon Action X, it's about DPM. So can it reach about 2700 DPM? Let's see, Carnarvon Action X, or just Carnarvon. But Carnarvon regularly has more alpha. This thing has 3000 DPM. Holy shit. So baseline is, let's see the baseline. Well, it's close to the 20 pounder on the Carnarvon Action X, but obviously 20 pounder has more accuracy. It's more accurate. So about the same pin, but a little bit more alpha. But this thing has more DPM, so not a bad gun.
Accurate, fast firing, and with high penetration. If you are a melee fighter, then the 105mm gun.
Alright, so this is the 105. Pen is more the same as a T-32. Alpha is about the same as a T-32. DPM 2100. That's not that much different. That's only like 100, right? So yeah, that's only about 100 alpha difference in terms of DPM. Might as well use the 105. Yeah, it's only 100 difference.
Melee fighter than the 105mm gun.
Yeah, it's only 100 different. Accuracy is off, obviously, so that could be improved with vents. But well, it depends on if you want penetration or want alpha. I would think just use this gun and spam gold shell. That's what normal players would do.
Is the one for you. It's slightly inferior to the 90mm in terms of accuracy and rate of fire, but it deals impressive single-shot damage. The M3Y is a comfortable heavy tank with gameplay similar to that of the T-32 and M103.
It's faster in appearance than T-32, so...
The M6Y is your final push.
Alright, Tier 9, comparable to an M103. Alpha is low. Well, it's 105, yeah. 10 degrees of gun depression, DPM, alright-ish. But then again, every American heavy tank got buffed in terms of DPM, so we have to take a look. But turret armor, 330, holy crap. Horsepower per turn ratio is pretty high, only 40 kilometers per hour top speed, so you may want to put turbocharger to put the top speed over the 40. 40 is alright, but it's not that great. It's like the original Centurions. Camo, garbage, view range, still 390. Huh. But let's go back to the M103s. Baseline DPM of the M103 is 2400. With rammer and other stuff, it's about 2800 DPM. This thing has a lot of DPM, so it has the alpha to boot, but accuracy obviously is not as accurate as the 105. So let's see the two guns on this vehicle. But
to the crown of the branch. This vehicle keeps the general concept of Yo tanks, but takes on a different appearance. The elongated turret looks especially impressive, and it has good armor and a shape prone to...
Two boobs on top of the turret, so two big ass weak spots. You have the periscope weak spot, no quote unquote. Upper plate 270, not bad. Lower plate 190, rounded. Obviously the cupolas are big ass weak spots, and you have two of them, so it kind of looks like a frog or something. Stupid ass looking turret front, but it's super thick. Above 330, goddamn. So obviously you have to shoot at weak spots. You cannot just switch the gold shell and auto aim onto the front of this vehicle. But
ricochet. The M6Y is also armed with two top guns to choose from, only this time their calibers are even greater. The 105mm cannon boasts good accuracy and...
So DPM is just close to the M103, but alpha doesn't cut it, obviously. So, aim time is only 2 seconds. Wow, that's not bad.
High damage per minute. Its 120mm sister is less accurate.
Alright, DPM, 300 less than the M103. And penetration is also less compared to the M103. So, I don't think this turret front is as good as the M103's. Granted, it's thicker, baseline, sure, but it has two cupola weak spots where M103 has only one. So, this thing has more DPM. Well, it's faster for the M5Y or M6Y, one of the which. But, yeah, it's faster than M103. Huh. You play them like a medium tank? So, are all the vehicles similar to a T110E5 where you have a weak spot, but you're supposed to move about quickly? God, this thing got nerfed so hard. Nerf the cupola way over the actual needed amount. Just reverse the nerf, please. Put it back, rebuff it.
But compensates for that with nice single-shot damage. The M6Y will help you better understand how to play the king of this line. I give you the M5Y. This vehicle, which rightfully sits at the top of this line.
Alright, so this is the Jar Jar Binks of all the lines. I'll tell you why it looks like that soon. But penetration, yep, above average for a 105. Alpha, only 360. DPM high. Let's check the T110E5's DPM baseline. Baseline DPM is 2700. So nothing to scoff at, but a little bit closer to that. Health 2200. Hull armor 178. Turret front super thick. Horsepower per turn ratio is great for this vehicle. Top speed is still 40, so you might want to put vents, turbocharger, and rammer for these vehicles, but camouflage, garbage. View range 400.
Uses the most effective and recognizable ideas of the previous Yo tanks, but takes them even further. The M5Y is much smaller in size, its turret is narrower, and instead of 2 vulnerable cupolas...
Alright, so 1 cupola, 190-ish. You have the Jar Jar Binks snorkel or nostrils right here. So you have the support that are 260, so these might get pinned and might damage the actual turret, so you cannot even turn it. Hull upper front is 260 to 290, so it's about 290 right here. Lower plate 200 to 245. Wow, that's still pretty thick. You have the... What the hell are these things? Those are actual machine gun boobs that are pointed sideways. What the frick? What are these? Oh my god, what are those? That's gross. Alright.
Only 1 remains, and it's a small one. Looks familiar, right? There are several vehicles with a similar turret model in the game. You can't underestimate such a design, especially if you keep in mind the comfortable gun depression angle. Just like the majority of the Yo tanks, the M5Y has 2 guns in its inventory. Choose the gun the same way as you would with the Tier 8 and Tier 9 tanks. The fast-firing 105mm.
Alright, so DPM is about the same as a T110E5. A little bit less, like 100 less, but penetration is up there. Alpha is meh.
Gun delivers good accuracy. Its standard shells are APCR rounds, which have excellent penetration and high velocity. Just what you need to fight mobile opponents. The 120mm gun is a heavy vehicle's tool. High single-shot damage.
Alright, so 120 Alpha is actually pretty good. 440. That's like a Russian 122. Takes a while to reload though. DPM is also less. 2400. Accuracy could be better. Aim time could be better. So it gives up a lot for just 440 Alpha. So it's all about the armor and the speed of these things, and you don't need the DPM, right? But here is a quick comparison of the turret. So you can see, kind of looks like a Jar Jar Binks. You see the resemblance? Alright, it's like a Jar Jar. It's nostrils, face. Oh god, I hate that character. Alright.
Reasonable accuracy and AP shells with good velocity. The gun is suitable for effective shooting at both close and medium range. At the same time, the turret armor will keep your hit points intact. The main feature of the Yo branch tanks, starting from Tier 7, lies in their chassis. I'm talking about the reserve track.
Alright, we don't need to know about the reserve tracks. You already saw it. So you get your tracks blown up, and obviously you have to repair them. So we already learned about this previously, but you can get detrack from artillery shells, how to stop the Yo tanks, blah blah blah, tips and tricks. Just turn the vehicle. Don't expose your tracks, period. You're not supposed to expose your tracks, but it's more forgiving to play with these heavy tanks. So in general, I mean, depends on how strong the armor is.
To repair.
And based on the cupola size, it's a small cupola. So you have to jam shells into the support structure for the turret. Don't know how that works, or how the hell do you fit crew members into this thing. Also, where the hell do you store the ammo? Like, how much ammo do you get? Like only 30 rounds? Because that's a very tight crevice for a commander, as well as a gunner, as well as a loader. So I presume this is where the driver sits, but I mean, that's the engine block. Do you also store shells like right here? And I don't know, is there like a loader sitting between? Is there like a loader like right here? And if you get pinned like right here, the loader is dead? I don't know how that works, but it's a fantasy tank, so where the hell do you store ammo? But overall, I mean, no test server, so I cannot tell you. But for now, I think the playstyle of the Yo tanks are like slightly less DPM'd T110E5, but have more considerable armor and faster. So it gives up the DPM by becoming faster with more armor. Obviously, less weak spots than a T110E5. God damn, that tumor is huge. And same goes with the M103. M103's cupola is also kind of huge as well, but it's more workable than a T110E5, quote unquote. But I still love my T32. This vehicle always has been a good workhorse. It's like a Jumbo Pershing or Ultimate Pershing. It's very similar. And T29 has always been one of the best Tier 7 heavy tanks. So, from what I believe, here is the tech tree. And we can take a look. But so, starting out, we have the Pawlack at about 30,000. So, thanks to Kornilov, alright, but he has posted from his Asian account on all the research aspects of the new tech line. So from the T1 Heavy to the Pawlack to the M2Y, M3Y, yada yada. But let's see, research the guns. So you have to research the 76mm to get to the Pawlack. You have to research a bunch of guns and a turret for the M2Y. And M2Y is you have to research all the gun first. So technically it's low in terms of XP, but all the XP has gone to the guns, so it's all balanced out. So one radio, one engine. And you have to do the same for the tier 8 or tier 7. That's a tier. No. That's a tier 7. I'm getting confused. M2Y has the 90mm, and there's no choice. Alright. Research the radio, and the radio fits all the later on. So this radio is ubiquitous, so only research it once. But gun wise, XP wise, still have to do some research. Engine, tracks. It has the double plated tracks. Well, is that the icon for the double plated tracks? That should be the icon. So 2 pairs of tracks means it has reserve tracks. Alright. So for the tier 8, you get the 90mm or the 105. Obviously, you don't have to research the 105, but the gun's XP cost is not that high. Only about 20,000 XP. Even though researching the tier 9 is dramatic, the stock grind should not be that bad based on the XP required. As for the tier 9, however, in order to research the 105, the stock grind is kind of bleak because you have to use a 90mm to get to the 105. You cannot just use the tier 8's 105. It's not available. So, wait. It's a different version of the tier 8's 105. So stock grinding the tier 9 suck. But it is the gun you should unlock first. So I recommend you dump free XP to unlock the actual 105 because you don't want to stock grind with the garbage 90mm. And radio standard. You can research the there are different turrets too. So they don't show us the stock turrets, how the stock turrets will look like. So this is obviously different with a trapezoid shape than the rounded shape. So is it just as good? Who the hell knows? But that's a big ass cupola in the back too. And finally, for the tier 10, you have to grind it as well. So you cannot just use the 120. You have to grind for it. Oh, wonderful. So yeah, thank you to Kornilov. But he has posted all the research from the Asian server. So yeah, how much would I rate this line? Well, it feels like the lower tiers, especially tier 7, doesn't cut it as much, mostly because of the cupola. Tier 8 feels pretty good. Tier 6 feels like a medium tank that has some armor but without DPM. So like a Sherman Jumbo in a sense, but it's fast. It's faster than an Easy 8. What? Alright, Tier 9 has the double boob, so don't know how I feel about that. So I still might prefer my M103. You will get pinned in the double boob, but they can only shoot at those weak spots because the upper plate is relatively strong. Lower plate is moderately strong. So, yeah. Same goes with the Tier 10. So you can only shoot at the weak spot. Otherwise, shooting the upper plate or lower plate doesn't do squat. And they are rounded downwards as well, but this makes you feel like the T110E5 needs some love, right? This tank was once the king of tier 10 heavy tanks before the introduction of the Super Conqueror. So back then, this cupola was about 260 to 270 millimeters effective. You need gold shell just so you can pin the cupola. And back then, this vehicle was the king of tier 10s. But nowadays, it's Super Conqueror and Kranwagen. So this thing got nerfed real hard. But there you go, folks. The Yohs tanks without actual test server and stuff for me to look at. But thank you, Wargaming, you pieces of shit. Shot all my plans, but a quick review of the stuff. So, Micropatch tomorrow. Can't wait. Well, then again, January is jam-packed, and we're having the Clan War stuff. So that fiasco is going on, and we're having maybe a marathon, but who the hell knows. So we could see the WZ114 as the marathon, but sometimes not likely. Different from the Chinese server to the other servers, so who the hell knows? Nobody does. But I thought there was going to be a test server. I thought there was going to be actual hints of like hidden vehicles on the test server for me to look at, but apparently not. So I'll see you guys tomorrow with a Micropatch, and we can actually take a look at the exact armor model and actual stats of these vehicles. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.